Hello, my dear listeners. Welcome to the second half of 2023. Yep, we're in the second half of the year. That means we've already gone through 6 months and we only have 6 months left. So it's a great time to do a halftime adjustment, just like in sports like soccer or football, baseball, or not baseball, sorry, basketball. Any of these sports, you go through the first half. You might be winning, you might be losing, you might be tied, whatever the situation is. You go into the halftime locker room. You make adjustments to your strategy. You make adjustments to personnel. You make adjustments to your outlook. You make adjustments on whether you want to be more defensive, be more offensive, and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of took that approach here on this episode today. I'm going to talk about 5 things that you might want to consider as you look at the second half of the year. Things like, how is your measurement going? Are you measuring correctly? Are you measuring the right things? How is your optimizations when it comes to mobile optimization, your search engine optimization? What about content marketing? Maybe it's a good time for you to look back in the first half of the year and see which content pieces have done well, which one needs optimization, which one things, is working, what's not working, which ones fell flat. Which one seemed like a really good idea at the time when March Madness was going on, and then all of a sudden it didn't really work out? Bud Light, I'm talking about you. So anyway, content marketing is a good place to kind of revisit everything as well. And if you haven't done content marketing, then maybe it's a good time to evaluate what you could do for the rest of the year 2023. Finally, I kind of wrap things up a little bit in this episode by talking a little bit about having a strategic plan. I know that's a big one. I've covered that topic in past episodes as well, but I wanted to revisit it today because it's a good time to revisit your strategic plan. There's nothing special about the halfway mark, right? It's just that it's halfway. It's a good time to kind of look at things and things like that. So don't feel bad if you haven't done any of these things. It might be a good time to start any of these things that I've talked about. But if you've done these things, then it's a good time to revisit and make adjustments as well. So tune in and let's do a quick halftime adjustment for 2023 and see what we can do to make the next second half of this year an even better year for you and for your business. Welcome to the latest episode of Corner Your Market. I'm your host, Silas Kinide. In this podcast, I talk about all things digital marketing, from website design and development to SEO and PPC, as well as paid advertising, email marketing, social media, and anything in between. If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. So tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. You'll gain some practical insights, new strategies, tactics, and tools that will help you grow your business. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and select the podcast app of your choice. Then you can hit subscribe within those apps. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review in the app once you've listened to one of our episodes. We are now officially in the second half of 2023, and to use a sports analogy, it is a great time for a halftime adjustment. And for those of you guys not familiar with what that might mean, I don't know, maybe it's all understood everywhere, but in most sports, I'm speaking primarily of the sports that I watch, football or soccer or basketball or any of these sports, when they have a halftime, they kind of go back in and the coach kind of reviews everything and they make adjustments, right? They make adjustments to the lineup. They might make adjustments to, maybe their goaltending strategy. They're going to be more aggressive or they're going to play more defensive. What are some of the things that they need to change so that the second half is different than the first half, at least for the most part? So that's what we're talking about today. It's July, the first week of July. We just came out of the July 4th weekend. It was a long holiday. I was going to do this and publish this the week before, but heading into a long holiday, I didn't think that people would be in the mood for thinking about a halftime adjustment, but we're back now, so it's a good time to think about a halftime adjustment. So what I wanted to do today was talk a little bit about some of those adjustments that you could make to your marketing, to your digital marketing, and see, maybe uncover some mistakes and stuff like that, or maybe blind spots Maybe things are going really well for you. Even if things are going really well for you, some of these things that I'm going to mention today are still worth revisiting to see if there's any improvements you can make, right? I mean, Liverpool was beating Manchester United, I think 5-0 or 4-0 at the half, and they still came back and pounded a few more goals. So just because things have been really good for you the first half of 2023 doesn't mean that you can't still make some adjustments. So that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about today. The points that I'm going to make are not necessarily in an order of importance, but I kind of have covered some of these points in my past episodes, so not necessarily entirely true. Again, halftime adjustment doesn't mean that these are new truths or these are new things. These are just things that you have to adjust. So today I'm going to discuss some digital marketing mistakes. I mean, not trying to make it negative, but maybe there are some unforced errors that you've had in the first half. So some digital marketing mistakes to avoid for the second half of 2023. And I obviously don't want to just leave you hanging. I will also provide some practical solutions for correcting them. So here are the 5 things that I think that you should, revisit. You might be doing them really well. You might not be doing them very well. You might be doing one of them very well. You might be doing all of them very poorly. Who knows? But anyway, something to kind of just, as you're looking into the rest of the year for 2023, here's some things that you can consider, right? The first thing is not measuring performance. You got to measure performance. So we'll talk about that. Overlooking mobile optimization. I keep running numbers on these every few months just to kind of see what the numbers are. You would think mobile is a given, but it's still not. I'll share some insights into that as well. And then not doing any SEO, search engine optimization. Again, something that a lot of people, could be a blind spot. And then the other one is content marketing. I've talked about that in the past as well. We'll revisit that as well. And then the big one is not having a strategic plan. That's a big one as well. I've done a separate episode on it. So if you want to catch up, go scroll through my library and find the one that talks about strategic plan. I think I need to start numbering my episodes. I'm really not sure when to start doing that, but I wanted to at least have a certain number before I started, doing that. So anyway, so let's get started. The first digital marketing mistake that you need to revisit or maybe avoid, or just kind of, even if you're doing it really well, we need to kind of think about is not measuring and analyzing marketing performance. So you spend a lot of time and resource into digital marketing, but you need to be able to track it, right? You need to analyze it, and then you need to be able to figure out what's going on. So this is an easy one. The big news here is Google has switched from Universal Analytics to Google Analytics 4. So if you have not made that change yet, you are kind of behind the times a little bit because that change happened July 1st, 2023. So you need to go in and make sure that your GA4 is connected to your website, because right now you have 5 days of data that's going to be missing because Universal Analytics pretty much stopped collecting data July 1st, actually June 30th, 2023. So that's the big one. So go make sure you got your GA4 set up correctly. I've done an entire episode on GA4. It's a very different way of tracking data and analyzing data and presenting data. So you need to kind of go through and you understand that. A couple of things to keep in mind when it comes to measuring. It's not just Google Analytics that just measures your data coming to your website. You need to also make sure that you have some kind of a dashboard set up for all of your marketing campaigns. So if you're doing Google ads, you're doing Facebook ads, you're doing any kind of measurement, make sure you're pulling in the data into some central source and you're doing some really deep dives into it, because you could really uncover some amazing things depending on what you're trying to measure. So, but even if you don't have a dashboard set up, go through those platforms and make it a habit to look at that data. I recommend every 15 days, but 30 days for sure. Some of the things that you should consider is message testing. Just because you've had a message running for the last 3 months doesn't mean that that's doing well. Throw up some A/B testing of your own, tweak some language, tweak the landing page, tweak the messaging on your offers or whatever it is that you're doing, so that you get some way of measuring against the performance that you've already had for the first half of 2023. So some creative things to think about is image updates, maybe some copy or landing page updates or things like that. So make those kind of changes, figure out a way to measure it against past performance and see if you can do better in the second half than you have in the first half, right? So go in there, get to learn some of the metrics and, just kind of see if you can do better. Just don't be satisfied. Just because you have a 7.5% click-through rate doesn't mean you can't get to 9% click-through rate, right? So see what you can do to kind of make those adjustments and keep that measurement thing going. So, but the first thing is, if you haven't done the switch, is make sure you have GA4. So now the second thing is ignoring mobile optimization. This is a little big one for me to share because for me, mobile has been such a big part of marketing for the last, decade. And so since it's been such a big part of the last decade, I've kind of even stopped asking people about mobile optimization, mobile design, mobile experience for your visitor. Let me give you some stats on the mobile traffic first, right? So this is as of 2021, 54.4% of global traffic is mobile device. Now, you might think, okay, that's still 46% that is not mobile. But if you do a breakdown of this traffic, 18 to 24 for 18 to 24-year-olds, 75% of the traffic is mobile. 70% for 25 to 34, 60% for 35 to 44, and then 45 to 54 is 55%. And then it just kind of trails off, right? With 65% and older being 45%. So depending on what you're selling, who your target market is, you're looking at upwards of 70%. This is 2021, so we're 2 years removed from this data. So I'm going to say that upwards of 75% of traffic for people under the age of 34 is going to be mobile traffic. I don't think my daughters have ever visited a website on their desktop. Just saying. I think on the desktop, they do homework for their school, but I don't think they're sitting there browsing things on their desktop. It all happens on mobile. So keep that in mind. So if you're targeting that kind of audience, I mean, you probably already have switched over, but if you haven't, make that switch. Here's the other thing that's interesting is a study by Google found that 75% of mobile users will abandon the website if it takes more than 3 seconds to load. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about when I say mobile optimized. That means that your business website needs to be very well mobile optimized so that it loads quickly. And then according to a study by W3 Tech, 67.7% of all websites are mobile friendly. Now that's good news. That's very good news. So 2/3 of websites are mobile friendly, but 1/3 are not, which means that if you're in that third, you need to drop everything right now. And I'm not joking. You need to drop everything right now and you need to even stop listening to me and you need to just stop this this podcast and go and figure out a way to get your website mobile optimized. That is how important it is if you're in that third. So what does it mean? If you are not mobile optimized or you're not sure if you're if you're mobile optimized, Google has a checker. It's called, if you go to Google and do a search for Google's mobile friendly test, a website will come up called search.google.com/test/mobile friendly. I'll drop that URL in the show notes as well. But it'll do a little quick test for you and it'll tell you, it'll give you a pretty quick, a yay, nay, page is usable on mobile and stuff like that. So you can kind of see what that is. And then you could kind of see view tested result, the tested page. It'll give you a rundown. And this is more for code geeks. But if it's not mobile, I haven't really seen the mobile recommendations because most of the sites I work with are mobile friendly. But if it'll probably give you some details of what you need to do to get your website mobile friendly and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, go to that site. I don't know if I need to hammer in the benefits of being mobile optimized, but it increases your traffic, it improves the user experience, it improves your search rankings, believe it or not. Google and other search engines, I don't know what other search engines exist, but there are search engines out there besides Google. They do give preference to mobile-friendly, mobile-optimized website. And load speed is one major factor. The third thing for 2023 that you need to kind of think about is and making adjustments for is SEO, search engine optimization. I read a stat not too long ago saying that Google on an average year makes 600 algorithm updates. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's almost 2 a day if you think about it. 365 is, how many days there are in a year, but Google's probably not pushing out, updates on major holidays and stuff like that. So if you, I think, bring that down, you're looking at 2, maybe even 3 algorithm updates a day. So, anyway, so you need to check your SEO. You need to go look at your SEO. How's your traffic doing? What are the keywords that are pulling in the traffic? What are the blog topics that are working? What pages are working? Put it through a checker, see how it's optimized, and see how your SEO is doing, right? So you got to make sure that just because you're ranking, this month doesn't mean you're going to rank next month. So go ahead and go do that check. Don't ignore SEO just because you've done well. Pay attention to it if you have not done well. But there's a lot of things you could do. There's checkers out there. Go to SEMrush, go to Ahref. There's tools out there that they offer. Moz is another one. Go out there and run your website through it, see what it says. And then, the other thing is if you're on WordPress, install some SEO plugins, see how your website is doing for each of the pages that are important to you, prioritize your pages, and then see how some of those pages might be doing based on the keywords that are valuable to you for that particular page. Okay. Now, that kind of bleeds into point number 4, which is not focusing on content marketing. So content marketing is a strategic marketing approach that involves creating and sharing valuable, relevant, and consistent content with the purpose of attracting and retaining a clearly defined audience and ultimately driving profitable customer action. The goal of content marketing is to educate and engage potential customers, build trust and credibility, and ultimately drive conversion. So why is content marketing important? It builds brand awareness and credibility because you're providing valuable information and educational content. You can establish your brand as a thought leader in your industry and build trust with your target audience. Content marketing also helps you drive traffic and leads. By creating engaging content that is optimized for search engines, you can increase visibility, attract more visitors, and drive leads to your website. It also increases engagement and loyalty by consistently providing high-quality content that addresses the needs and interests of your target audience. It helps you keep helps you keep them engaged and coming back for more. Content marketing actually, over the long term, is very cost effective because compared to traditional forms of advertising, content marketing can be a very cost effective way to reach and engage your target audience. Now, how do you get started with content marketing? There's a lot of ways to get started with content marketing. You can define your target audience and understand who your audience is and try to see what their interests, needs, and pain points are in relation to your business, right? So you could say, I make hiking shoes. What are the needs, interests, and pain points of somebody that, buys hiking shoes? I'm a hiker. I've got, very specific needs when I'm hiking: traction, comfortability, strength, and also wet, dry, high altitude, low altitude, rocky, muddy, snowy. Those are all conditions that a hiking boot, needs to be able to handle. So as you can imagine, even if you just take 5 or 6 of those and expound on those as pain points for your potential audience, you have plenty of content to write about. And I'm not just saying just flooding with noise. I'm saying give valuable content, because I genuinely, and I think a lot of people genuinely out there, look for information that helps them, with their interest, that helps them with their need, or helps them with their pain point. So define your target audience accordingly. Choose your content format based on your audience. Don't chase the tool, chase your audience. And then create a content calendar, plan and schedule your content in advance. This will help you maintain consistency and ensure that you're always providing valuable content to your audience. Then promote your content on social media and email marketing campaigns, something that a lot of people forget. If you have an email database, you should be pushing content out to that email database that is yours. And then obviously the given one is measure and refine your content as you put it out, right? There's one adjustment that I would recommend for you this year for the second half of 2023 is to make content marketing a critical part of your digital marketing. That is, if you haven't already done that. And if you have done that, revisit it, adjust it, make sure you're on track. Great time to do that. Because if you're not creating and distributing valuable and relevant content, you miss out on a lot of opportunity. I can't tell you how much opportunity you're going to be missing out on. Because at the end of the day, content marketing is providing information. And if you think about it, we live in the information age, right? So people are going to search engines looking for information, and you need to be the information to your audience about the things that you do really well. Now, to kind of wrap this up into one big overall theme, to be honest with you, I wanted to kind of put this at the beginning, but I decided to put it at the end because at the end of the day, as you look into the second half of 2023, you want to make sure that you have a really strong strategic plan. Now, I did cover this a while back. One of the biggest mistakes that business owners make is not having a clear and well thought out plan for digital marketing. So without a plan, businesses, you can probably imagine if you don't have a plan, you lack direction, you struggle with achieving your goals. So to correct this mistake, it is essential for you to develop a strategic plan that outlines objectives, budget, target audience, and methods that you will use to reach your goals. So let's talk a little bit about this as I kind of, this will basically be a summary of something I've talked about earlier this year, but I want to give it to you right now because I don't want you to have to go back and kind of look for that podcast. But you can if you want. I can give that to you too, or look through my library. But what is a strategic plan? A strategic plan is a document that outlines your organization's goals, strategies, and tactics for achieving specific objectives over a set period of time. It's a comprehensive and long-term plan that helps organizations like yours focus your resources and align your activities to achieve your desired outcomes. So it can play a very critical role. It's a critical tool for any business as it helps to guide decision-making, prioritize resources, and allocate funding in an organized and systematic way. Not having a strategic marketing plan means you lack direction, right? So keep that in mind. You lack direction. Without a clear plan, it's difficult to determine the most effective and efficient use of marketing resources. Now, raise your hand, unless you're driving, raise your hand if you have unlimited resources, right? Unlimited resources. If you have unlimited resources, you don't need a strategic plan, right? So not having a strategic plan means you won't have any direction. Other thing is you're going to miss out on opportunities because you're going to fail to see opportunities. This is huge. Some people ask me, how does having a strategic plan help you capitalize on opportunities? My experience with strategic plans is when you have a strategic plan, you start to see opportunities. You start to see opportunities that you would otherwise not have seen. And that's huge. So the other thing is not having a strategic plan means you're going to have ineffective use of resources, right? You're not going to be able to maximize on staff. You're not going to be able to maximize on the resources that you already have. You're not going to be able to maximize on opportunities that you may not have recognized. So those are big. So what are the components of a strategic plan? As you go into the second half of 2023, think of these things. Do you have a mission and vision? A statement of your organization's purpose and long-term aspirations? What are your objectives? What do you want to achieve by the end of 2023? Or by the end of January, June 30th, 2024, which, believe it or not, is not that far away. It's less than a year away. How about a SWOT analysis, a strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat analysis? That's always a good part of a strategic plan. Strategies, what are some things that you're going to do to achieve those goals? And then tactics, what are the specifics that you're going to run? Are you going to run a Facebook campaign, a likes campaign, a video campaign, a YouTube ad campaign? Those are all tactics. Strategy being you want to reach a specific audience with a specific offer or a specific program or a certain number of downloads or a certain number of sales. Now, all of this is all great and handy dandy fancy smanchy, but you need a plan, right? Once you put all that together, you need a plan, a detailed plan for executing all of this, including who in your organization is going to be responsible for it, any third-party resources you need to pull in. Maybe you need a marketing agency. Maybe you need a CPA. Maybe you need something, maybe you need to outsource something. Whatever it is, you need an implementation plan. And then you need to define your metrics, which you kind of do at the objective section, which is the second part of the comprehensive strategic plan. And then you're going to measure it as the performance metrics, as you go along. So at specific intervals, you are going to measure it and you're going to optimize. And then you're also going to assign a budget to this whole thing so that you have an estimate of the resources that you're going to use and apply so that you're not stressed out when you spend money. That's one thing is if you don't have a budget, you get stressed out. You get stressed out when you realize that maybe this is an opportunity and you need to kind of spend on this, but you don't know because, man, you don't have a budget, you don't have a plan, you don't know if this is going to work, right? But if you've thought this thing through and you come across an SEO guy and the SEO guy or the company gives you a certain estimate, you can digest that because you've already done the analysis at the beginning and you've already assigned budget to it. Now it's just a matter of tweaking it and making it work for you. And then finally, a good big part of your strategic plan is your timeline, a schedule for when each step of the plan will be completed, who's going to be responsible, what the handoffs are, what the transitions are, when you mark it off as completed. And then so as you head into 2023, the second half of 2023, that is, game ends December 31st, 2023. Actually, it ends 2 weeks before Christmas for us. But anyway, that's a different story. But so the game ends there. So what do you want the score to be? And how you're going to get there. So that's basically it. So that's part of the strategic plan. So I want you to be very successful into your 2023, the second half of 2023. So today I shared with you the digital marketing adjustments that you can make to your marketing. I talked about measuring your performance, not overlooking mobile optimization, which may or may not be a relevant point for you, but I did give you some pointers on that as well. And then also adjusting your SEO, because SEO is not something that is a one and done or set it and forget it. It's never like that. So you need to revisit that. And then the fourth thing I talked about is maybe spending the second half of 2023 on a content marketing strategy and a content marketing plan. And then the final thing that I talked about is developing a strategic plan if you don't already have one, or revisiting your strategic plan for 2023 if you already do have one. So anyway, I hope the second half of the year is a lot better for you than the first half of 2023. It's going to be a good year. There's a lot of good things happening. I know we have some headwinds in the economy and all kinds of stuff happening, but there's always things like that, right? You got to stay focused on your business. You got to stay focused on your goals. And you got to just make these adjustments, make these tweaks, and let's kind of get this thing going. So with that, I say happy second half of 2003 and happy marketing to all of you.
If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager at a company, or an entrepreneur, please tune in weekly. You'll gain some insights, tips, and tricks, and be a bit more enlightened when it comes to digital marketing. I promise you, if you implement the strategies, tactics, and tools I discussed in this podcast, your business will definitely grow. Please subscribe to this podcast. You can do so by going to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and subscribe with the listening platform of your choice. That URL again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Don't forget to like and share this episode with your friends and colleagues. Also, don't forget to leave a review. Those mean a lot to me and can help others that would benefit from the information I share. Finally, I would love to hear from you. I love getting listener emails. So if you have questions, feedback, or any general comment about the topics I discuss on this podcast, feel free to send me an email. I will be sure to share and discuss your feedback on the air if it will benefit our listening audience. You can write to me at connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Just put listener comment in the subject line. That email again is connect at corneryourmarketpodcast.com. And again, please put listener comment in the subject line. Thanks for listening today. I look forward to being back next week. Until then, be good and do good.